Welcome to People Love Process. Throughout all my content on People Love Process channel on YouTube here, you've heard me say many, many times to think in shapes and to build in shapes. Now, the last week or so, I've been doing a lot of that. So we won't be covering Bezier curves, though, or applying blend modes. We're going to hyper focus on forcing you to view and analyze shapes, and from that focus, build your artwork using nothing but geometric shapes. Now, this content will cover 2 weeks from the time this movie goes live and will serve as a creative challenge to you, the viewing audience. And it will be a fun challenge that I actually have a pretty cool award for that I'm going to show you in a little bit. Now, this is all better shown than explained, so let's begin. So, thinking in shapes. I've said that so many times, you're probably tired of hearing me saying that. Now, what I've been working on for the past couple of weeks, it ended last week, but for 2 weeks I worked on it, is I was creating designs for a friend of mine. Her name's Trish, and she runs a company called Fresh Cut Crafts, and it's geared for kids, but it gets kids to think creatively and solve creatively using shapes. And she provided me with this, which was the digital file for all the shapes that are within her set that she puts out. Now, I was charged with creating 20 different designs using nothing but the shapes you see here. And you might be wondering, well, what's the number? Well, all of these are die cut out of different colors of paper stock. I believe it's Astro Bright colors. I can't remember who the paper company is. It might be Nina, but I might have that wrong. It might be French paper. I can't remember, but either way, really bright colors. And so these are the counts of all the shapes within the given set. Now, I had to create 20 different designs, but I could only limit, like, let's say the top left hand here, this kind of scale shape, I could only use this 15 times across 20 designs, not for each design, but across all 20. So there's a little over 800 shapes in total, and these are the counts for how many of this shape you can use within all 20 designs. So some of these shapes are pretty common, and it made it a challenge to pull off. And the thing is, you're not gonna be doing it with these shapes. I created my own set of shapes because these are Trish's, but because I worked with her, I told her what I wanted to do, and she gave me permission to do this. So I just wanted to show you kind of what her shapes are. Now, none of this is going to be, or what I'm going to show you shortly is going to be in the download because it's her product. I just want to use it as an example to explain how we're going to be doing this. Now, what I did as I was moving forward, and I gave her a list of ideas before I even started doing this. I was saying, well, maybe I could do this or I could do this. And she liked those ideas. She said, just pick the ones you want to do and let's go from there. And I said, great. So it was a creative challenge for me to have those limitations and not touch the pen tool, not create shapes with Illustrator, just use shapes to compose a design. So I printed this out and kept it on my desk, and I looked at it, and then based off of what theme I had in mind, I just did simple shape drawings. So this is the one I did, the first one I did. And I was thinking, well, what if I had an elephant and there's like a bird, and I'm kind of just crudely roughing out the shapes that are in the set that I need to use. And then on a 8.5 by 11, that's the format for what she wanted me to create, which is an art mat, M-A-T. And this is what the end product looked like. So this is using a lot of those shapes, the square, this is like 1/4 of a circle. These are the ones, but you can see how all of these are composed to create a design. Now, these are given, each kid is assigned an art mat, which is just a printout, and then they can take the colored shapes of whatever color they want, and they use this to compose the design. Now, kids can also do whatever they want as well, but these are ones that kind of guide them. Now, the only part in these designs that aren't technically shapes, because we have like a water droplet shape here, are these eyes. These represent where they can take a pen after they compose the color paper and just draw eyeballs on it, or little dots for the eyes. So those are the only parts, and the legs here, those are the only parts that are drawn. And you would do the same thing, but you can mock it up like I've done here with strokes and just little shapes like this. That's just to explain how her product works. Here's another example. This one's horizontal. Let's take a look at a vertical one. And here's a frog. So I was thinking I want to do a frog kind of jumping. Maybe he's sticking his tongue out trying to get a bug. This is my thumbnail. I drew it out a little more here, but ultimately when it was said and done, it ended up looking like this, which I kind of liked. And so that was a fun one as well. You can go ahead and close these after we go through it. We don't need to save it. And we'll go to the next one here. And this one was a crab. So I decided to do a crab kind of under the water. Maybe there's a sub in the background. So you can see this is a pretty crude drawing. And this is a lot larger than what's showing on screen. It was just a thumbnail sketch. I just blew it up so you could see it. But ultimately, this was the composition I ended up doing with those shapes like this. We even have Patrick kind of buried in the sand down here. That was a fun one. Let's take a look at one of my favorite ones that I did. Is I wanted to do a dinosaur, like a T-Rex type one. Maybe this implies a volcano in the background. And this is what that came out like. So once again, all of these are just a white fill with black stroke. Ultimately, these will be representative of the colored paper die cut cutouts that the kids are provided in those Fresh Cut Crafts kit. And they just get a printed mat where it can guide their composition of all these shapes. And they're just matching shapes and thinking in shapes. But for you, I want you to do the same. So we're going to close this. I'm going to show you the set of shapes you're going to be working with. So I'll go ahead and close this. I just wanted to show you these examples because even though we're not going to create these shapes. These shapes are provided for you. These are all the shapes here. And I got a little more elaborate than the shapes in Trish's set. So you have a little more realm to explore in this. But ultimately, I use the same exact process where I look at these shapes, and this is what I encourage you to do. Drawing is problem solving. Drawing is about working out ideas before you spend the time to try to refine an idea. You want to mine a good idea and lock it in and capture that idea in a drawing. Drawing also helps you cognitively to think out composition and to work out design. That's why I'm always talking about the drawing process within digital workflow. It's more important than ever, in my opinion. So let's take a look at the shape drawing that I did using these shapes. So you'll want to print this file out, keep it as reference, do thumbnails to work out the basics. And then as you're building, you might come up with a different idea to handle something. That's fine. But try to work out your idea before you don't just sit down and noodle around. That's what too many people do, and you waste a lot of time doing that. So this was the sketch that I created. Once again, it was a tiny thumbnail sketch. And I'm looking at the shapes, and I decided this is what I'm going to go ahead and build. So we're going to go ahead and build that in a vertical file here. And within the exercise files that are free for this movie, there's a vertical and there's a horizontal. So you can pick whichever one works with the idea you have in mind. I provide it for both. Now, I mentioned a prize. There's going to be 3 winners I'll pick because you're going to have to submit your file back to me if you want to be considered. First place, though, and I want to thank Adobe because I'm part of the Adobe Professional group online. And when we create content using Adobe tools like my courses on LinkedIn Learning or primarily on my channel here on YouTube for People Love, I always log those into the system that I'm registered with for the Adobe experts community, and I get credits for each time I share a video. And that just reminds me, I forgot to post that one I did last week. I need to do that to get the credit, or else I won't get credits. But that credit account builds up, and I was able to get a brand new pair of JBL wireless Bluetooth headphones, but these aren't for me. These are for this channel. So this is going to be for the #1 prize winner. First place will get a pair of these. They'll get a bookmark. They'll get some stickers. And then there will be a second place and a third place winner, and they'll get a bookmark and stickers as well. No headphones, only for the first place one, because I cashed in a bunch of credits. But you can thank Adobe, because that's what I'm using my credits for, is to give back to this community. I appreciate everybody who watches, and this is my way to say thank you and give anybody who wants to take the time to try to figure out a design and not have to worry about how perfected your digital vector building is. This is one that anybody can do, from a child to an adult to somebody distinctly non-creative. So all they have to do know, because these aren't paper cut crafts, these are digital assets. All of these are just shapes, once again, with a stroke of black and a white fill. So let's go ahead. Let me look at my sketch again. Okay, so we're going to need body parts, legs, head. Okay. Now, after building 20 of these, I started memorizing some of the basic shapes, and I have some of the same similar shapes like these. So I think we're going to need that. This will be his bottom and his front. And then we need some longer ones for the plant here, and his legs. We're doing a giraffe, so a giraffe's going to be long and dangly. And then we need some of the same shapes. A lot of these are matching. These are matching shapes, just shorter, not so long as these ones over here. The bird, we'll grab this. We need a beak. This worked good for a beak. Some grass on the ground. We need something for his, I don't know what they call it on a giraffe, the hair on the back of his neck. And then we're going to use this is one of the most useful shapes. After building 20 of these, I figured out what shapes are really useful. These leaves are really useful. They're good for eyes. They're good for leaves. Since we have a plant here, we definitely want to grab one of those. And then we're going to need some of these. Oh, the top of the head. We're going to use this. And we'll start there. So I'm just going to copy, go to this, and make sure we're on the right layer, and paste it like that. I'll move these kind of off the board, and then we'll move them in once we start composing. So this will be part of the body. And by the way, there are some rules here. I should have gone over that before I started. I'm getting too excited to create this design. Simple rules. Now, in order to, there's one rule that applies to the contest in general, and that is submit your AI file, and you'll use the email in the description below this movie. It's a People Love email, so it goes to my People Love inbox. The other rules regarding your design using these shapes is use only shapes provided in the shape file, the GS shapes file. No creating new shapes. You can reorient the shapes however you like rotate them. You're going to see me do that in just a second. But no scaling the shapes, no enlarging them, no shrinking them down. Just use them at 100% size that they're provided in the file. No mixing or creating new colors. You can see right now in our swatches, we just have black and white. But you will have to color the design. I'll get to that in a second. I'll show you how you'll have to do it. and you won't be able to mix your own colors. You have to limit your choices to the colors I provide. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. Your art needs to fit on an 8.5 by 11, whether it's vertical like this one or horizontal. Either is fine. It just has to be 8.5 by 11. And I'll pick 3 winners again. First place will win the headphones. Second and third will get bookmarks and stickers only. And the most important rule, in my opinion, is just to have fun. So I'll go over that again at the end. But like this, you can't do this, go up or go down in size or whatever. You have to use it at 100%, but you can reorient it. So if we reorient this one here, that's fine. And you want to have smart guides turned on, so when you're over an anchor, it snaps to an anchor. When you're over a path, it's over a path. It's going to make doing this so much easier. And if you don't know how to turn on smart guides, let's go here. We'll go to settings, and you want to go to smart guides. We'll open this up for a second, and you can see we have, you want to have snapping turned on. Selection anchor point here, like this. You can see all the settings I have here. You just want to make sure you have smart guides turned on. Smart guides, to turn it on, you can go to your preferences here, and you can enable if you want alignment guides on. You might like that. I don't, so I tend to have that off. But I like having the object highlighted, so I do have that on. And you can set your tolerances to whatever you want. These are the ones I use. Now, to toggle on smart guides, you go Command U on a Mac. What would that be? Alt U on a PC. I'm sorry, I only use PC for gaming. If I select this, you can see, and I hover over any part of this, it will show the path, it will show the anchor. If I go Command U, it turns that off, and it won't act as if it's snapping. So you want to have that on. Command U to toggle it on, Command U to toggle it off. But for this kind of project, I think you'd want it on. So we're going to make a copy of this. You can use as many copies of any given shape you want. Just again, you can't scale it up or down. You have to keep it at exact same size. So I made a copy of this. Oops. Make a copy of this. F3 is the keyboard shortcut I use, like that. And we're making the rump, back end of the giraffe, like that. We'll take this. This will be his legs, so we need 3 more. So I'll just hit F3 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And that's why I do it, because I can make copies super, super easy. And then I'll put this. I think his body's too short. I'm going to move this over, go back to the shapes, and this is where you'll go back and forth in between the shapes. I need a shorter one, the same width as this square we're using, so I'll copy that, paste that, like that. Then we'll just move this over like that. I think that leg's okay. We'll snap. Sometimes it's easier to drag it out and bring it back and snap. And then this one, we want it to hit on the back like that. That looks pretty good. I think we got that. This, bring it down here, I'll rotate it. And again, I want 3 more of these. So I'll just hit my F3 3 times. That's why I use keyboard shortcuts. And I'm just going to snap these here. Like that. I think that looks pretty good. We need to do his neck and his head. And we need a kind of a swanky one here for his tail. Let's see, what would be a good end of a tail? Maybe just a triangle. And then we need his hooves. So we'll use this for a hoof. And we need some clouds because his head is way up in the air. So we'll grab a cloud shape. And I don't know if I can't remember if I grabbed that one. I'll grab it just in case. We'll copy it and we'll paste it. Oh, I did have that shape. Oh well. Like that. Move these out of the way. Oh, I forgot what I went to get, the neck. So we need 1, 2. We'll use this for the head. And we need, let me look at this really quick. Oh yeah, the nose. We'll actually, we have that. The same one we're using for the hoof, I think we can use for the nose. So copy those in. Like that. Head might be a little small. Let's grab the bigger one. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, this is, we'll rotate this around. And these are going to be, I don't even know what they call the top of it. They're not antlers, they're not horns. You can zoom in on the file to see something here. And what I want to do is I want to center this right here instead of eyeballing it. So if you want to get precise, we'll use this for no other reason than to align. I'll snap it there. That way I can select these two, focus on the one we created, and go to the Align tool and align it. And then I can select these, clone these, and use this one to align the other side. So we'll get rid of those. You can't create your own shapes. And I'll just overlap these. Now it'll become, I don't know what they call it on the top of a giraffe's head. I always forget about details like that, and then I don't know what to refer to it in the movie. We'll go here, put this, I'm going to use this obviously on the plant, so we'll put it down here. And again, you can orient it, so just don't scale it. We'll go ahead and move this so it becomes kind of like an ear shape. I think that looks good. We're going to use this 1/4 of a circle. We'll just snap it to these, and that'll become his hooves. And then once we do that, we can bring it over there. Like that. He needs a tail. Let's get his tail worked out. This will be the end of the tail. So it's good to focus on an anchor, snap that anchor to the other anchor, then you can use rotate, click your orientation on that anchor, and then all you have to do is figure out where you want this to go, how far down. I think something like that's fine. We'll take this, I'll just rotate this around, take this anchor, and that'll be the bottom part like that. And because this is acting like cut paper, these don't, let's say you're creating the back of the giraffes, the mane, I guess is what they call it maybe. You can put it right there at the edge and slide it wherever you want. But let's say you wanted it to be hidden behind it a little more. You can move it over so technically it's behind that shape. So it just depends on what you're going for. There is no rules regarding that. So if you think it looks better being more diminished, then by all means do that. Here, we'll rotate it again. You can orient it any way you want. We're going to bring this up and, not that, little shape like this. And we'll compose it so that'll end up being his nose. And much like I showed you on the examples, we'll use an indication that represents, because when these kids put these compositions together, if they need eyeballs, they just draw it in with a pin. That's the last thing they do. Okay, so let's take this. Now go down, and this will imply the ground. So we'll put it there. This is going to be part of the plant or the tree of sorts that he's going to be eaten from. So I'll clone this. This is where I go from one anchor point to the next, like that. Once I've done that, I can just copy it. So Command C, Command D, Command F. Bring this to the front like that. And then let's zoom out, see where we're at. I need this one. If I did another one with this high, it'd make it too close to his head. So I think we want to have a shorter one on top. Bring that to the front. Make a copy of this. Again, you can use as many copies of the shapes you want. You just can't distort the shapes or scale them up or down. You have to leave them exactly the size they are. That's the rules of the game here. Okay, I'm going to go over here, and on this one I think it would look a little better tucking behind a bit. So I'll go like this. I'll use rotate, click on the anchor, and I could go 45 degrees. I think it looks a little better going out. I'm just going to tuck it one nudge over, something like that. Then I'll clone it. And I'll move it down, something like that. Then I'll just copy it. Then I'll select all of these. And I'll find a reflect tool, find a central anchor point, reflect it over. And these I'll just kind of fit within the gap from the other side, like this. Send it back, like that. I have to make, he's a hungry giraffe, so let's do this so it looks like he's eating one. There we go. Now we have to put our clouds in to imply something like that. We'll go up here. Needs one up by his head. We'll flip this just so they're not all identical. And this one will be kind of like this. We have our bird. So let's bring the bird down. Something like that. We'll use this shape as the beak, and I'll take this anchor and snap it right there. Oops. Again, at times you're going to have to zoom in because I want to get this anchor, snap it on that anchor, send it back, but I want it to come out a little bit like that. Now doing, want the bird eye. Do that, select this, and align that way just to center it. That looks good. Bird needs a tail. Let's go grab a tail. We'll use this one. And now I want it to be there, but how do you do that and know it's perfectly straight? Well, I'll cheat and I'll use what's called the Orient tool, part of Astute Graphics. And it's nice because I can go click, click, and then rotate it, and it'll snap into that orientation. You're not eyeballing it. There really should be a tool native to Illustrator that does that. Now, if you don't like how the bounding box changes, by the way, you might not be aware of this, but you can go up to transform and you can go reset bounding box. So if you ever run into that and it bugs you, you can resolve it by doing that. This, move them a little bit over, something like that. I think that looks pretty good. Now it's not centered on the page, so let's go ahead and group them. And we'll center this on the page. We can ungroup it. Oh, you know what? We need more circular material because I want to add spots to our guy. So I'll go here. Copy it. Go in here, paste it. Because the giraffe kind of has spots, so we need some spots in here. Something like that. Do I have a smaller one? You know what I just realized? And I'm noticing this because I have a shape sheet printed out, but I just realized that my shape sheet in my file doesn't have the shape I'm after. So, okay. So once again, I'm limiting myself even more. So the actual shape sheet that will be in the exercise file has a smaller one of these. That's funny. I forgot to put it in my folder where it needs to go. So what I'll do is I'll just improvise. I'll just focus on smaller dots. So we'll put a dot here. I have this one over here. Bring this to front. Wrong key. There we go. And then this one will be on the back. Bring it to front. Like that. And then we'll add a couple dots up here. So there are smaller ones in the that are actually in the shapes, but for some reason I forgot to replace my old shape file with the new one I created. So no worries, we'll just put a couple on his neck like this. These we ultimately won't use, so I'll delete them. Now, once you get to this part, you can mock up what would be his eyes. So if I take these like this and go down here, this just represents where you draw with a pen on top of your shapes. That's all I'm doing there. If I take these will represent his legs. So if I think his legs should go there, we'll go ahead and move this down to match it. There we go. And then we can use this for his eye, but I thought his eye would look better larger. So we'll just do that and we'll center it like that. And this is fundamentally our shape illustration. Now, you also get to color it. You don't want to submit it just black and white. If you wanted to have a black and white in your file and then the full color, that's fine. But we're going to color it. But notice we don't have any colors in our swatches. That's because I have a graphic styles, and these are the only colors that you're going to use. And it works super easy with graphic styles. Like if you use certain palette of colors, maybe you're doing a big project and you're always using the same color, rather than always having to select a shape and click a color swatch, this might be a good way to handle colors for like his nose. I can select this and just hit black and boom, it's a black fill, no stroke. So it resolves having to keep doing the same thing over and over again. So if I select elements of this giraffe, like his head, ears, and the top part, maybe it's the back of his neck, the mane, and we go down here, going into the body, I select those shapes, select the center shape here. All of these could be yellow. And then maybe we go with a compatible color or a complementary color, like this orange on this, like this. Maybe all these spots that are going to be on his body, we can select those, and those can be a brown. So it makes coloring really easy. So we can select these. And once you get some colored, you don't always have to go back here. You can also just eyedrop sample to apply it in the same manner. So these be yellow, these be yellow, these be that color. All of his hooves, we'll make those brown. This will be yellow, and his tail will be a brown like that. And then these up here, we'll make those brown as well. Let's go ahead and color the green. We'll do this, select those. Those will be green. These stalks, we'll make those green. This will be the darker green. We'll make that one dark. This one, green. These will be the dark, and this will be the light. This will be the light color. Go up here, make that one. All of these will be kind of light blue. This will be white. We'll make the bird, maybe it's a blue bird. I like that. Select this. Color that, and we have our design done. So once again, limiting color. There's a lot of colors here I didn't use. Didn't use red, pink, the purple, the lavender, the aqua, etc., the tannish color. So there's a lot of colors you can choose from, but it forces you to limit your colors. And anytime you're limited, that usually helps being more creative because you have to think creatively to resolve something. A giraffe's pretty easy colors. It's pretty much just yellow, but it'd look boring if I made everything yellow. So I like using the gold. Now, I will get back to the regular shape, and this, because on my final shape list, and I don't know why I didn't replace it in my file, but no big deal. I only had one of these in these shapes, but I also had a medium one. So I'd put the medium one here, and then I had a small one. I put the small here. So it just looked better, like it was wrapping around his neck of sorts. So the final art I'll share will have that, but on this one it doesn't because I didn't provide it in these shapes, but the exercise files will have the crate shapes, so it'll give you even more shapes than what I showed you in this movie. So this is a lot of fun. So once again, let's go over the simple rules. They're not hard at all. Submit your final AI file using the email in the description below this movie. It'll be a People of email to go to my People of inbox. And what I'll do is I'll share the winners I'll do a post on Google, and I'll share the 3 winners and what they created. And I'll also share all of the ones that submitted, because I think this is a fun one anybody can do. So I'm limited in my resources, so I hope you find it worth doing one at least to try to get a pair of headphones. They're great headphones. JBL is a great brand. So once again, the second rule, use only the shapes provided. And you'll even get more shapes than I showed in this movie, because I had the wrong shapes file in my record files that I use. So oops, but that's okay. That just limited my possibilities. You can reorient the shapes, meaning you can rotate them, you can flip them. Just do not size them up or down. You can't create your own shapes. That's a no-no. No mixing or creating new colors. You can only use the graphic styles in the file provided. Now, once you apply a style, you can use eyedropper to apply it to other shapes. That's fine, because it's not creating new colors. Your art needs to fit either on a 8.5 by 11 document that's either horizontal or vertical, like this giraffe one is. And again, I'll pick 3 winners. First place winner will win headphones, bookmark, and stickers, and the second and third place winners will get a bookmark and stickers. So the most important rule, just have fun. Come up with something unique. Like one of the designs I didn't show you because I didn't want to show too much of what I did for Trish before it's publicly released, is I did a monster licking a lollipop. So there's no limit to what you can do here. Just have fun with it. See what your mind can create. And take the time to do the drawing, because this is the simplest drawing you can do. Look at the shapes, analyze the shapes, then start figuring out how to compose those to create something that would communicate what you're trying to communicate. That's all it is. Again, you have 2 weeks to get this challenge done and submitted. Remember, the exercise files for each of my People of Process movies can always be accessed via a link in the description below. This download, the exercise files for this movie, is free, so you don't even have to pay for it like other content I post on this channel. Thank you again to those who have become members of this channel. Even a simple like helps me to grow. This is a challenge anyone can do. Get your coworkers or friends involved, and I'll record a video, or actually I'll post something on the Google channel, so you'll know who wins and you'll be able to see what everybody creates. So I think that'd be a lot of fun to do that. So until next time, thank you for watching People of Process. And as always, I hope this content helps you improve your own creative process.